All right, what is going on, everybody? How are you? Welcome back to the Deep State News Network. I am your host, Dean Evans. I hope everybody's having a wonderful night out there. It is Friday, March 19th, 2021. So, guys, today I'm going to do a couple different. Um, I'm going to do a couple different videos today, I think. I'm not sure how uh, many yet, because um, I'm not sure. I want to do one with my sister. I'm not sure if Jeff's gonna be able to do one. So my buddy Jeff, I'm not sure if anybody who watches now used to watch, but Jeff and I had a show called Sober News, and then we just ended up changing it, or I think I ended up changing it to the Deep State News Network, and because I started getting like really into Trump and just not realizing how much of a douche he was, but anyway, so Jeff's gonna be back because we're back in touch, and so we're gonna start doing some videos together too. Uh, but I was gonna do one with my sister today too, but I don't know. She's not hitting me back, so it's cool. But I was watching a little bit of the news right now, and I'm like, I can hop on here and talk about this Rand Paul thing real quick, which you guys, I know some of you who see this may already know about. But the one thing, the basically the only thing we're going to talk about in this video right here, guys, is Rand Paul shitting on Dr. Fauci for Dr. Fauci's 1 month science degree from the School of the Worst Scientists. Yes, that is our upcoming topic right now. Of course. Oh yeah, it's showing. Okay. I love this little ticker thing down here, guys, where it scrolls across. I can put the topics up. But all right, guys, I'm going to share my screen here with you. And we are going to head over to our Rand Paul here. Here we go. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy. Sit back,
Dr.
relax.
Fauci, in a recent British study, David Wiley and others found that no symptomatic reinfections from COVID 19 after following 2,800 patients for several months. In fact, there have been no reports of significant numbers of reinfections after acquiring COVID 19 naturally. Shane Crotty of our
Oh, yeah, I just want to say real quick, guys, it's like 8 minutes, so you might want to get your popcorn because he's going to shit on Fauci.
virologist at La Jolla Institute for Immunology concludes from his experiments that the amount of immune memory gained from natural infection would likely prevent the vast majority of people from getting hospitalized disease, severe disease for many years. In this study, which was published in Science, Dr. Crotty showed that antibody levels stayed relatively constant with only modest declines over 6 to 8 months. Dr. Crotty reported that notably memory B cells specific for the spike protein or RBD were detected in almost all COVID 19 cases with no apparent half life at 5 to 8 months after infection. In other words, Dr. Crotty found significant evidence of long term immunity after COVID infection. Furthermore, Dr. Crotty noted B cell memory to some other infections has been observed for as long as 60 plus years after smallpox vaccination, or even 90 years after a natural infection with influenza. That was a woman who got the Spanish flu, still showed immunity 90 years later. So rather than being pessimistic towards people gaining immunity after they've had COVID or had a vaccine, studies argue for significant optimism. In fact, there have been no scientific studies arguing or proving that infection with COVID does not create immunity. There have been no studies showing significant numbers of reinfections. Of the 30 million Americans who have had COVID, only a handful of reinfections have been discovered. In fact, the New York Times reported last fall more than 38 million people at the time worldwide had been infected with the coronavirus. And as of that date, fewer than 5 of these cases had been confirmed by scientists to be reinfections. Scientists interviewed for the article concluded in most cases, a second bout with the virus produced milder symptoms or none at all. Given that no scientific studies have shown significant numbers of reinfections of patients previously infected or previously vaccinated, what specific studies do you cite to argue that the public should be wearing masks well into 2022?
I'm not sure I understand the connection of what you're saying about masks and reinfection. We're talking about people who have never been infected before.
You're
And-
telling everybody to wear a mask, whether they've had an infection or a vaccine. What I'm saying is they have immunity, and everybody agrees they have immunity. What studies do you have that people that have had the vaccine
Yeah.
or have had the infection are spreading the infection? If we're not spreading the infection, isn't it just theater?
No,
You've
it's
had a
not.
vaccine and you're wearing 2 masks. Isn't that theater?
No, that's not. Here we go again with the theater. Let's get down to the facts. Okay, the studies that you quote from Crotty and Sete look at in vitro examination of memory immunity, which in their paper they specifically say this does not necessarily pertain to the actual protection. It's in vitro.
And what studies
Very-
can you point to that shows
Let-
significant reinfection? There are no studies that show
Just let
significant
me, let
reinfection.
me finish the response to your question, if you please. The other thing is that when you talk about reinfection and you don't keep in the concept of variants, that's an entirely different ballgame. That's a good reason for a mask. In the South African study conducted by J&J, they found that people who were infected with wild type and were exposed to the variant in South Africa, the 351, it was as if they had never been infected before. They had no protection. So when you talk about reinfection, you've got to make sure you're talking about wild type. I agree with you that you very likely would have protection from wild type for at least 6 months if
Point
you're
to the-
infected. But
point to
we
the
in our
studies, though.
country
Point to
now
the studies
have
that
variants that are
shows
circulating.
significant reinfection. What study shows significant reinfection, hospitalization, and death after either natural infection or the vaccine? It doesn't exist. There is no evidence that there are significant reinfections after vaccine. In fact, I don't think we have a hospitalization in the United
All right, guys,
States
I'm gonna be right back. There's still
after
4
the
minutes.
2-week
I really
period
gotta go to
after the
the
second
bathroom, so
vaccination.
I'll
We
be
have
right
a
back.
death in the United States.
You're
Hope you
not
guys are enjoying.
hearing what I'm saying
This is a
about
pretty good
variants.
exchange. I
We're
watched it
talking
before.
about wild type versus variants.
And
Now,
what proof is there? What proof is there that there are significant reinfections with hospitalizations and death from the variants? None in our country. Zero.
Well, because we don't have a prevalent of a variant yet. We're having one. Can I finish? We're
But what
having
you're talking about is
117 that's
conjecture.
becoming
You're
more
making your
dominant.
policy based on conjecture.
No,
You have the
it isn't
conjecture that
based
we're
on
going to get
conjecture.
variants, so you want people to wear a mask for another couple years.
No,
You've been vaccinated and you parade around in 2 masks for show.
no.
You can't get it again. There's virtually 0% chance you're going to get it, and yet you're telling people that have had the vaccine who have immunity. You're defying everything we know about immunity by telling people to wear a mask who've been vaccinated.
No.
Instead, you should be saying there is no science to say we're going to have a problem from the large number of people being vaccinated. You want to get rid of vaccine hesitancy? Tell them they can quit wearing their mask after they get the vaccine. You want people to get the vaccine? Give them a reward instead of telling them that the nanny state's going to be there for 3 more years and you got to wear a mask forever. People don't want to hear it. There's no science behind it.
Well, let me just state
Dr.
for the record that masks are not theater. Masks are protective. And we
You have
ask people,
immunity there, theater. If you already have immunity, you're wearing a mask to give comfort to others.
Senator
You're
Paul,
not
out of
wearing a
time,
mask
and I
because
would
of any
like Dr.
science.
Fauci
I
to-
totally disagree with you.
Dr. Fauci, if you could respond so that we could understand the difference between the virus itself and the variants and the reason for a mask.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't.
If you could respond to the question so that we could all understand the difference between the vaccine in controlling the wild type versus the variants that are out there and the reason for wearing a mask, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, yes. First of all, when you have a variant, you have an immunity that
Right,
you
guys.
get what's convalescent
I'm sorry, I
sera
don't
and the
mean to-
same sort of thing. If
I
I
don't mean to, like, not
vaccinate
be
you
here
or
during the
me
videos.
against the wild
Kyle's
type,
doing
you get
school,
a
I had to go
certain
to the
level of
bathroom.
antibody that's
Michelle
specific
left right
for
in
a
the middle. She knew I
particular
was trying to do
viral
this, and he
strain.
has school.
If there's
and
a
so she had to go to the
circulating
mall.
variant, you don't
So,
necessarily have it. You
that
have
was
some
super important right
spillover
now.
immunity to be sure,
Anyway,
but you diminish by anywhere from 2 to 8-fold the protection. So the point I'm saying is
He's
that
such
there
a
are
liar.
variants
Dr.
in
Fauci,
now
you're a liar.
circulating. The point that Senator Paul was making was that if you look at wild type only, there is some clear-cut credence to what he's saying. But we are
Oh,
living
really?
right now in a situation where we're having a dominance of 117, which was the original UK. We have a very troublesome
Oh, we're-
variant in New York City.
Oh, we're
the
getting in all these
526.
strands
We've
now.
got
This
two
is
variants in California.
this is what we knew they were gonna do, guys, because they want to have complete control over when this thing ends and how many more times it like ramps up and how much. I mean, the money that they're making off this thing, guys. If we don't all start coming together and standing up and saying something about it, this guy is a straight up bold-faced liar. And he's sitting right in that chair. I don't know if he's under oath or not, but he probably should be. But his hand will probably burn right through the Bible because he's evil. And for him to sit there and lie to the American people, hundreds of millions of American people, he should be ashamed of himself. And in my personal opinion, he should rot in a jail cell for the rest of his life. And if it were up to me, the rest of his life would be like another 100 years. So that's my thoughts on Dr. Fauci. Well, let's continue.
California, 427, 429, and we
Hate
have a
him.
number of
I
others.
don't
we're not
hate him. I
dealing
shouldn't hate
with
anybody,
a
and I know.
static
I'm
situation
sorry,
of the
Father.
same
I don't
virus.
hate him.
If somebody has gotten both
dislike him very
vaccines
much.
for Moderna and Pfizer, or just the one for J&J, and 2 weeks have passed, why does that person need to wear a mask if they go in public?
Well, you know, if you look at the science overall, you have to sort of determine what level of evidence are you willing to sort of make these decisions on. It makes a lot of sense, I think, that if it's just the wild type virus that's circulating, the one that we've been talking about for the last year, you take the vaccine, it should reduce the viral load that you could potentially carry, make it unlikely that you're infected, and even less likely that you could transmit it to others. But I think there's 2 points that keep coming up. One is that there's still a lot of virus out there. So, when you have that much virus out there,
there's
could
so
you
much
still
virus
actually
out there.
be exposed? And even though it's unlikely,
Guys, check this out. There's been lots of virus out there for like thousands of years. There's been lots of. Do you guys realize that? Like, if you take COVID, okay, let's think about this in a way for a second. If you take COVID out of this big, scary mainstream media thing that they have played it into, it's no different than any other virus, any other bacteria. Nothing different. Jeff and I have been saying this for a year. It's no different than any other bacteria. So everybody running around thinking that they are literally going to drop dead because they get coronavirus is literally, they mentally need help because they're not using their brain. They're not literally sitting down and thinking to themselves, what's going on here? What is coronavirus? Oh, it's a virus. It's just bacteria. We have them running through our body. We have them inside of our body right now. So, guys, we got to start using our brains. We need to stop just putting all of our faith in Dr. Fauci because he has a D and an R in the front of his frickin' name. That doesn't mean anything. That means he's certified to go on TV and lie to you to get you to do what the government wants you to and have control over your life. All right, guys. So I don't even want to finish this because I hate CNN. I don't like Sanjay Gupta there, whatever, and the other Finnerlin or and the whole fear porn death mat numbers in the corner. I can't stand. So I love you guys. I thank you guys for tuning in. It is Friday, March 19th, 2021. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Dr. Fauci is a piece of shit who has a 1-month degree from the school of the worst scientists ever. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow on Saturday, March 20th, 2021. Everybody have a really good day. Please share, please like, please subscribe, guys. Please subscribe. And if you can, please donate. All right. I hope everybody has a great night. Peace out, everybody. Like I said, I might be back later with my sister. I don't know, though. Hope everybody has a great night. Hope you enjoyed this video. Peace, guys.